Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, I think you picked a very gruesome match for us.
Yeah, this one should be very hard.
You got that devilish grin on your face.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for this one. It's been a while since we've had, something that could really turn into a little bit of a bloodbath here. And so after last week's kind of not so hard hitting, actually this week and next week, I expect some very big hard hitting matches. There's a 22-minute barn burner on this one. And so, never covered a JBL match. And so this was one that added, now we're in May or whatever it is at this point. But this one was added way back. I made sure it was on our list during the Cena retirement tour. It ranked very well. There was a lot going on with this one, kind of a number one contenders matchup. And so a lot of moving pieces with this one. And so should be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to covering it. And you said last week, did you say this was our first ever JBL singles match? Is that right?
This is our first ever JBL singles match. Yes.
I actually don't know how that's possible.
Part of it is he didn't have a whole lot of singles matches that were worthy of us kind of covering. We do have the Acolytes taking on. I have a 2-minute Acolytes versus Public Enemy match from Heat. So that one, I picked this one over that one. So we'll kind of go from there.
All right. Well, let's get into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
All right. So Judgment Day. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is a SmackDown only pay-per-view.
Yes.
Which I guess, we're not doing SmackDown and Raw only now, but we're getting 5 matches a show. So in a way we are, I guess, splitting things up a lot more. But it just felt odd because remember, in this era, if there was no Raw pay-per-view, then that meant you'd have 8 Raws between PLEs, which that was probably kind of awful.
Yep.
There was a lot of stuff that wasn't ideal in this era. The brand split pay-per-views, that one I'll never understand. That never made any sense to me.
No.
Judgment Day 2005, May 22nd, 2005. So 21 years ago, we're at the Target Center in Minneapolis. We have 12,000 in attendance. We do a buy rate of 220,000. We start off with M&M, which is Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. They're going to retain the tag team championships in 8 minutes against the unforgettable team of Charlie Haas and Hardcore Holly. Carlito is going to defeat the Big Show by pinfall in 4 minutes. Man, we could go down a rabbit hole on this one, but I don't know what the right way to book Big Show is, but man, they just did that guy wrong throughout most of his career.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Paul London is going to retain the Cruiserweight Championship by defeating Chavo Guerrero in 10 minutes. Booker T is going to defeat Kurt Angle by pinfall in 14 minutes. Orlando Jordan is going to retain his U.S. Championship against Heidenreich in 5 minutes. Rey Mysterio is going to defeat Eddie Guerrero by DQ in 18 minutes. Man, you do 18 minutes and then ends in a DQ. And then our main event, John Cena, JBL, and I Quit match. And you'll get into this, but I guess there was a number one contenders tournament to see who would wrestle John Cena. Is that right?
Yep.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, so this is one, like you said, interesting build up to this one. It was a number one contenders tournament taking place on SmackDown throughout the month of April. So the competitors at the time were JBL, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Eddie Guerrero, and The Big Show. And so you ended up, it turned into that was the first round. The final round was a 4-man match because Booker T and Big Show was a no contest. And so JBL winning that one, what was it, about a week before, about a month before this show actually taking place. I'm probably going to guess there was a Raw pay-per-view and then we got this pay-per-view. So getting into that. And so to give some context, Cena had just won the championship at WrestleMania 21. He is the face of the company. JBL had been coming off the heel reign on this one, as playing the heel on this one. So you had the old school heel champion and then the new kid, John Cena. And so, like I said, Cena beat JBL at WrestleMania 21 to win the championship on this one. Of course, JBL said it was a fluke. All the heel stuff starts. That's just kind of how it goes. And so it's JBL trying to undermine Cena and that he wasn't, he didn't have what it took to be a long-term kind of champ and wrestler. So you got JBL leaning into, at the time where he was the wealth, he was the wrestling god persona. He used others to do his dirty work, all this other stuff. And then he also had like his faction, the cabinet, and all this other stuff. But on the flip side, Cena was still young. He wasn't like the Cena that we know now. He wasn't like, totally loved by everybody, but he was still building credibility. And the biggest thing was, can Cena beat JBL again? This time decisively, which made it the I Quit match. And so, good, rematch. This was the era of rematches too. And so you get that, but just interesting stuff. Yep.
Well, I'm looking forward to covering this one. I just feel like it's going to be a pretty wild ride. So, and I know it's a little bit of a longer match, so I say we get right into it.
Let's do it.
All right, it's time. Oh, by the way, 25 minutes left in the on Netflix. There's 25 minutes left in the show. All right, you ready?
We got it pulled up. Let's rock and roll.
Time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
Here we go. JBL, the former WWE champion. The longest reign in 10 years ended at WrestleMania.
Man, that Cena shirt with the belt on it is absolutely hideous.
Yes.
That is a horrible t-shirt, I think. I don't know. They probably sold 10 million of them. So I got a question for you. To me, JBL might be the last really good heel. And what I mean by that is like a real heel, where like you actually think, oh, this guy's an asshole. No. I know this is all fake, but this guy's a real asshole. I mean, I feel like everyone since JBL has played a heel, not been a heel. And people really thought, I mean, you know how many years after he had retired, people were like, yeah, but he nobody liked him. Like he roughed people up in the ring. Like he was a real asshole. Mm-hmm. Like, whether it was true or not, it didn't matter because the point is people bought it. And I just feel like now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, tell me if I'm like missing it. And it's like, Tom, no, like, I mean, maybe Gunther a little bit, maybe Drew McIntyre a little bit. Like these guys have a little bit of an edge to them, and it's kind of the way they are in real life. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, truly a heel. And I'll go a step further and say, I think it could be a real problem because who are your heels? So like, go in the 80s, a guy like Jake the Snake Roberts, okay? Like, he was a dark character because he was a dark person, okay? Like, I mean, we've seen the documentaries. Like, really dark, really messed up, like all kinds of stuff, right? But like wrestling attracted a lot of shady, dark people in real life that had really effed up things that happened to them in real life. And it came across on screen. I don't necessarily know where we're getting that. I mean, the reality is like Trick Williams is a choir boy. Maybe he can play a heel, but he's just a hell of a nice guy. You know, Obafemi, where's the heel run there? I mean, maybe you put him with Heyman and he becomes a bad guy, but you know he's a really good guy. Javon Evans, tell me how he's going to play a heel, right? Like, I'm just thinking of like some of the like newer, younger guys that have come up that are like super over right now. And I'm like, I just don't know, because we know they're not assholes. We know they're just really good guys. And there's just so few things we're doing left, you know, and I hate to pick on the women, but they've done it a number of years. Well, they'll do like a group photo at the Royal Rumble, like as they're practicing. And it's just like, I know none of these women dislike each other, right? I mean, we had the Tiffany thing with Charlotte that I think was real, and she shouldn't have said the line and whatever, but then they apologized and, you know, they hugged and whatever. I mean, I still don't know if Punk and Rollins actually like each other or don't like each other, and I like that.
Yep.
But I feel like there's very little left of these like edgy people. I mean, you look at like 90 Shawn Michaels, like 96, 97 Shawn Michaels with like that edge. That's the way he was in real life. And I'm not saying he was living a healthy lifestyle or it was sustainable, but darn it made for good TV. And so I have a real concern right now of like, everyone's on social media, everyone's doing podcast interviews and they aren't in character. And, oh, Tom, it's a different time. I get all that. I don't blame them for doing it. I'm just saying that part of the challenge is going to be no one on TV is like, wow, is The Undertaker really like this in real life? Wow, is JBL really an asshole? You understand what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, and I don't know if you saw recently, it was Kevin Owens who was on that, that one development show as well too.
LFG?
LFG. Yeah, I was gonna say let's fucking go. But anyways,
I've never seen it before, but
I've seen a lot of clips from it. It is actually pretty good. You know, everybody's really green, and so it's especially funny watching like Bubba Ray Dudley, and you know. But Kevin Owens made the comment about being a heel. He was I forget exactly who he was talking to. But one of the wrestlers backstage told him like, here's the direct quote: "Being a heel isn't about doing less, it's about doing it smarter. Some people confuse being a heel with being less good, less interesting. I don't have that vision. It's all about how you react to what's happening. I don't want you to dumb down your skills just because you are a heel." Thoughts?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
It's exactly what it is. And so he said then, imagine that this was the philosophy guiding the heel phases of John Cena and Dean Ambrose. Like, it could have looked very different versus, you know, oh, I'm, you know, the big dumb wrestling idiot. Yeah. So we got, this is a long match. It's a good match so far. We're outside of the ring. We're beating the hell out of each other. I don't see any blood yet, but we'll get into that. But of course, the hot topic right now, and we always joke about it, but if people could see what you and I send each other and just all the different topics. So let's just start with some of the new deals and the pay scales of the top executives of TKO. Nick Khan just resigned through 2030. According to the SEC filing, you know, they're all making in the $20 to $30 million range as they're cutting. You know, I have thoughts. I know you have thoughts, so I'll let you start.
So my thoughts are that TKO is a large publicly traded company. This is how it works. Okay. Yep. The compensation for key officers, the compensation for board members, the stock options, the cutting of employees that are overpriced, relative to the value they're bringing the organization. Okay, so that's a whole nother topic, wrestler cuts, which we'll get to. This is how it works. This is how every company functions. So if your issue, if you don't like it, is not with TKO. Your issue is with the broader system. Okay. But this is how it works. Now, executive compensation, Nick Khan took over in March of 2020. The WWE's stock price, if you were to put, grandma left you $100,000 and you put it into WWE stock, it would now be worth $500,000. Okay, so he has 5x'd the stock price in 6 years. That's really good, by the way. Okay.
Yep.
He's created billions of dollars of value to the company. Now, has it all been him? No. But has he been the most important piece of this? Absolutely. Okay. It's not Roman Reigns. It's not Triple H. It's not Kofi Kingston. All right. It is Nick Khan. So does Nick Khan deserve that money? Yes. If you're going to use logic and math and statistics. Now, emotionally, does it seem crazy that one person makes 30, 40, 50? Yes. If Nick Khan wasn't offered a package like that, Nick Khan would not be with the WWE. He'd be a sports agent or he'd be doing something else. All right. So to attract and retain people of his caliber, you have to offer these packages. It's no different than college football. Well, how in the hell can Nick Saban make $10 million a year? Well, because enrollment, fees, and volume have gone up to the point where they've made the university about $50 million extra per year just in enrollment. And that's before ad sales. That's before rev share through the SEC. That's before anything else. Okay. So Nick Saban at 10, 12 million, whatever he capped out at and whatever college football coaches are making now, they're receiving a small percentage of the value that they're creating for the university. What do you think that Signetti's done at Indiana? Oh, he's making 15 million. Well, he's probably creating well over $100 million in value to the university through enrollment, through demand, through sponsorships, through donations. So he's fairly compensated. You have to look at the big picture there. But again, the points here are, this is how business works. Nick Khan is being paid fairly based on the market. And if you weren't going to treat him fairly, he's gone. And now WWE is going to look a lot different without Nick Khan. He's been the best thing that they've done in the last 10, 15, 20 years. So I'm going to pause for a second before you give your thoughts. Let's check in on the match. John Cena has one of the nastiest blade jobs here you'll ever see.
Yeah, he is crimsoned up and dripping all over the map. Yeah.
I mean, his entire chest is covered in blood. His face is covered in blood.
JBL mocking John Cena.
I mean, it is bad. All right. So Nick Khan, am I right? Am I wrong? Where do you land on this?
Yeah, it's tough. Do I think it's too much money? Yeah, of course. Like, it's, 25 million, 30 million after it all plays out. Like, I'd like a cut of that too, but he does what he does. Like, it's hard not to, the number I saw, it was through 2030, and it's probably, that package, you're looking at about 25 million. Ari Emanuel, like TKO CEO, he's currently making 68 million. Like, and so, but like Triple H, it's lower, but also you figure he's got all kinds of other package deals and all kinds of other stuff. And so he's not underpaid by any means. To give some comparison, I did pull up the top 2026 top college football coaches and what they're making. Kurt Signetti is the biggest one, 13.2 million. Kirby Smart at Georgia is making 13. Lane Kiffin at LSU is making 13. Ryan Day at Ohio State's making 12.5. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, 12.5. Dabo Sweeney, Clemson, 11.5. So like, and they're usually the top paid people in the state. Like, you know, so yeah.
By the way, if Indiana wasn't going to pay Signetti $13 million a year, and they said, you know what, that's not fair. That's just too much money. We're not going to pay a coach more than $5 million. His shit would have been packed up the day after the national championship, and he would have been doing a press conference in Baton Rouge or Tuscaloosa or somewhere else. Yeah. Happy Valley, guy's gone. Okay. So if you want your program to succeed, if you want all those great outcomes to come from winning, you have to pay up. I have 2024. This is the most recent data. The average CEO of a Fortune 500 company in 2024 was 20 million. So that's whatever. It's 25 million now. It's obviously gone up every year. So yeah, I mean, you're, you know, a high level executive at a large publicly traded company. It's going to be 20 million plus. I mean, that's just the going rate. And the thing too is like people want what they're worth, right? If all of your peers are making twice as much as you, it's not about the numbers. It's about feeling valued and respected. It's no different than the talent. And you know, it's funny because you say, oh, Nick Khan, he's overpaid. What do you think Roman Reigns is making now? What's he at? 10, 12 million? He's working a lot less than Nick Khan.
And if the rumors are to be believed, they've asked, you know, for a cut. And so who knows? But yeah, Cena is just crimson masked wrestling this match. And we still got a long time to go.
This is insane.
He is covered in blood all over the jorts, everything. And so I think it's
wow. I mean, it is.
He's still pouring blood. It will be lightheaded out there. Yeah. So I think it stings more. And it's just like in any industry, like you've got all these wrestlers that get released, but then you have the quarterly report where all of a sudden your execs are making more money. And yeah, some of them are like, it's weird. It really is. And so to kind of see like who's been getting released, who's like all this other stuff, like it's hard too when it's Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Like, yeah, like that one was weird. I could see that turning into, if it hasn't already by the time we've recorded, turning into a R-Truth type situation where something happens there. I don't know. A lot of these wrestlers though, like you and I talk about this every time, there's outrage for wrestlers that you haven't seen wrestle in a year. Like there's we got like Tongaloa and all that. Like, okay, every time he botched, every time he went out there and people just weren't a fan of it. Yes, is Zelina Vega and Aleister Black like getting cut? Like they were fine. Like I didn't care though. Aleister Black hadn't done shit since he came back to WWE again. So yeah, there's always going to be those names that you're like, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of them though, as we were proven too, like they might not want to be there either. Like, there could have been a lot of like that came out, especially about Kairi Sane. Like, yeah, she was deep in a story, but also like, what is it? Her partner's in Japan. Like, so there's all kinds of other factors that play into it as well too. Would I love to see the Wyatt Six stick around? Yeah, of course. But also like it just like they weren't doing anything and they obviously didn't have anything planned for them. So you just kind of got to move on. And so it sucks though. But to your point about like, yeah, now that TKO is in charge, their job is not to make the fans happy. Their job is it's to make money for the shareholders. And if the numbers I've seen floating around out there to believe, like TKO is still in massive debt after buying the UFC. Yep. And so like it's going to be a while. And so, yeah, they're trying to do what they can to, get back to being a solvent company. Not that they're, going to close or anything, but yeah, like right now, like you may not like the product, and it might be, there's a lot of things changing. It is hard. Like it's a hard place to be in, because I want to enjoy my wrestling, but at the same time, like you and I are smart enough to understand we're not the internet wrestling community full 100% on this. There's a lot of moving pieces to this. You don't have to like TKO. I don't right now. I don't like what they're doing to our product, especially when we go back and watch some of these other stuff. I look forward. I know the new season of Dark Side was just announced. I look forward in 10, 15 years to the Dark Side of the Ring, the 4-part TKO series, and so we'll just wait and see. But yeah, it is just a weird time. But this is every single time there's releases, there's always people that you don't want released that get released. And it's the same argument every single time. We hear the same shit. It doesn't matter who gets released. And it's always I can't believe it. Oh, they're going to AEW immediately. Like AEW, there was a time when that might have been the case, but that's not necessarily the case anymore. Like, yeah, is Kofi and Xavier appealing? Yeah, for sure. But is Dexter Lumis appealing? Probably not. Like, so it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the thing is, like, look at who, the three you rattled off, they're all tandems. So which means, the Wyatts, okay, if each of them is making a couple $100,000 a year, that means that it's the act is a minimum of what, $1.5 million a year. And okay, we tried, they didn't really get over, they're not moving a lot of merch. So we don't really have anything else for them. We don't want to write stories for them for another year. Kofi and Xavier, they're probably, combined, they're probably about $1.5 million a year. Okay. The act really hasn't done anything in a few years now. So, hey guys, we need to get you down to about half of what we're paying you, get you down to about $750,000 a year. And they said, no, we don't want to take a pay cut. All right. Doors always open in the future, but go make some money elsewhere, and they can work with the Young Bucks, and it'll be good for them. It'll rejuvenate their career. But you start adding this up, and it's like, okay, well, they cut $5 million of expense. Now, yes, they do have to pay back their debt. Another thing that's important too is like, here's the thing, and like you see businesses that are struggling, okay, and they can't service their debt. What if there's another pandemic? What if the next round of TV deals isn't as high as these TV deals? Like, I understand that in the here and now, they just made all this money this quarter. Well, but they're thinking about the next 5 years. How do we eliminate this debt? How do we continue to get our stock price to go up? There's a lot of moving pieces here. It's more than just, we're making money, so we shouldn't cut anyone. Friend of the show, Zach, wrote me and said, Tony Khan is lucky he doesn't hire me as a consultant, because I just identified 51 people on their roster they could easily cut tomorrow and no one would blink. Okay. So yep. WWE is saying, we don't want 51 guys on our roster that all are doing nothing, or we don't have a lot for. And, you see all these folks coming up for NXT, and frankly, let's give the Sol Rucas a chance. Let's give the Javon Evans a chance. Let's give the Ethan Pages a chance versus trotting out, Kofi and Xavier to do the same shit they've been doing for 20 years. So I'm good with it, but you start adding these up, and again, they have to. And here's the thing. Tony Khan's a better guy because he's not cutting anyone. Jeff, in the long run, is it really best for these people to just be sitting there getting a paycheck? Because what I would argue is, yeah, maybe there's short-term security for those people, and maybe in some cases that's good. But in some cases, they're like, maybe if I got out of here and I could go reinvent myself on the indies and I could go create a character, maybe I could be the next Danhausen.
Yeah.
Javon Evans, used to be with AEW. So, like, sometimes it's good to get out of, a good steady paycheck and go test yourself on the open market and see what happens.
Well, and look at like someone like Paige. They wouldn't let her wrestle. She went over to AEW. She did a ton over there. What by the end, wasn't always out there doing everything. But then what is the first thing that she said when WWE brought her back? I'm going home. Like that is how it feels for some of these people. Like, that is the pinnacle. These guys, like, everybody's bleeding now. We are
this
up
match.
the ramp.
This is a really, really good match.
JBL's limo has been destroyed. Yeah, like we are just eating. That's like
Is
like
JBL bleeding? Oh yeah, JBL's bleeding too. Okay. I didn't know if that
I think he's bleeding too. Yeah. Hey, don't forget, this is an I Quit match. We haven't seen a pinfall attempt.
JBL desperately trying to get away from John Cena. Doesn't know where he's at.
This is what WWE traditionally does really well is like, even if the show isn't that great, typically the main event they deliver the vast majority of the time in situations like this. Like this,
fans are losing their shit. Everybody's on their feet. We are behind the curtain and you can see everybody on their feet.
Uh-oh. JBL Cena had like a tailpipe or something. He was gonna hit him.
Yeah, this is the smokestack off of a truck, like only in wrestling, man. That Cena broke off and was about to hit JBL with, who is kind of positioned in front of the Salt Glass Judgment Day stage set. You know it's coming. Here we go. Yep, he's waiting on it. These guys are covered in blood. Oh, you can see it just drip. Here we go.
Jeez.
Got luckier than Shane on that one. At least it was worked glass. Jeez.
If I had to be a little nitpicky, Cena's a little too super Cena-y right now, considering the amount of blood he has. Like I could, him maybe bouncing around is a little much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather him be selling this a little bit more.
Well, that's okay though.
All right, let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think?
That was really good. It was you couldn't do that type of match nowadays, obviously, but I think for the time when it was one of those where it was necessary because of the story that was being told. Worth it.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was one of the best matches we've watched in a while. That was just, it was fun. Is it the greatest match of all time? No, but I just, again, it was just like, it was a blast to watch. Like it was really fun.
Exactly. Cool. Okay. What do we got here? Okay. So, this one, are we in the payout or the aftermath? Are we there?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you said it or not. This solidified Cena as the champ. As a tough champ. He could carry a feud, main event setting, had all that different stuff. And was able to do that. Cena kind of moved on after this one. He had feuds with Chris Jericho. The split Cena crowd, Cena sucks, all that was going on. He started to go on at this point too. JBL, though, moved out of the main card or main event picture, but was still that kind of strong heel, but never really got back to this point. And so, but still really good. This was a blow off. There was a definite ending because it was an I Quit match. They both moved on. Like I said, this show was very well received. This match was the best show. It was interesting, and this kind of shows the split on Cena. It was the best match, but then it also got 8 votes for the worst match. So what are you going to do? And so this one, though, big stars on this one, 4.25 stars. Yeah, it's what do you say? A shockingly great main event. I quit match. Probably the best match of either man's career on Judgment Day. A creative effort into the positive column. Cena and JBL took full advantage of gimmicks placed everywhere, from the ability to smash up a limo, tables breaking, to a TV set, even a CO2 canister, to have one of the great true bloodbath matches in WWE history. So 4.25 from Meltzer. What are you thinking for this one?
Dude, I have this at like an 8.5. I thought this was fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
great match. I mean, I understand there wasn't like, a massive build or after. I mean, but it's like JBL had been champion and he had a pretty damn good heel run, and Cena's on his upward swing. So I really, really liked it. And again, nitpicky is I could have used some better selling by Cena. Little too much Super Cena for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I thought it was really good. It was one of those where pleasantly surprised. Like I said, normally sometimes the blood just kind of turns you off a little bit, but this one it worked. It was very good. There's just no other way to cut it. Yep.
Okay. What do we got next week?
What are we doing next week? Okay. We're gonna stick with WWE on this one. We're going back even earlier though. King of the Ring 1993. I'm hoping for another hard hitting one. We'll see what happens, but this is we're gonna do Bam Bam Bigelow taking on Bret Hart in the King of the Ring finals. I just saw you light up a little bit. You look like you're excited for that one too. So
I got it. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I like that
Bret Hart.
show.
Yes, Bret Hart. It was a good show. Bret Hart, Bam Bam Bigelow in the King of the Ring finals. Yep.
All right. We'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.